Hi everybody. In this video we're going to be looking at the Mac accessibility keyboard panels and how to integrate that into a Finale workflow. What we're going to be looking at actually works with any app on your Mac, not just Finale, but we're going to be focused on Finale for this. I'm using Catalina. So depending on your operating system, if you're onto Big Sur or you're still on Snow Leopard or something, things might look a little different, but I think everybody should have most of this software. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the System Preferences, click on that, and in the keyboard area, scroll down until you get to Keyboard. So the first thing we're going to do is open the System Preferences, and we're going to go to Keyboard. And here you want to make sure that Show Keyboard and Emoji Viewers in Menu Bar is selected. So what this is going to do is it's going to give us this menu item here, Show Keyboard Viewer. If I turn that off, then I don't see that menu item. So we want to make sure that's on. That's going to be where we'll be toggling the accessibility keyboard from. Go back to our System Preferences and we're going to go into Accessibility. And here we're going to go to Keyboard in the Accessibility menu, and up here to Accessibility Keyboard. We're going to turn it on, so Enable. And this is what the general accessibility keyboard looks like. Now this is designed for people who are not able to use the standard keyboard and need to have an on-screen keyboard, but it's also very programmable, very customizable, and can be used as a palette system for whatever purpose you want on your Mac. So we're going to go into Panel Editor, click on that, which brings up this is the panel editor, and you see I already have some things in here. So if you saw my video the other day, this is the chord panel that I had made. So each one of these buttons is for a specific chord in Finale. So you won't have this. You won't have all of these different panels that I've already created. So you're going to hit Add Panel. So you're going to create a new one, Add Panel, and it gives you a bunch of templates for different types of keyboard layouts like this. We're just going to do the empty one. So there's empty. Now you can hit return and you can type a title in here, and it's a little bit touch and go with the way this types for some reason. It's a little buggy, but that time it worked out okay. Sometimes you have to try it twice. So I'm just going to call it Finale. This will be a general Finale bunch of buttons. Now over here in the inspector, open that up and you get this panel. We're going to decide, here we're going to make we're going to select Finale. That means that this panel is going to open when we open Finale. So right now, a lot of these other panels I've selected with no application right now. This one, if I go to Finale, it's going to show right now this empty panel. Here there's a bunch of different options. You want this to be the custom panel list for what we're going to be doing. Now we're going to add some buttons. So we'll say Add Button, and you see there's our first button. And we're going to give this a title. Now I'm going to make this a very simple thing that we're all familiar with. I'm going to call this Select All. So this is just going to do our general Select All that we do in Finale and on any application, the Command A. And we're going to do that with a button. You'll see down here there's different options for font size, for centering the text and things. You can play, here's to change the color. Play with that as you see fit. You can make things look the way you want. You can change the font size a little bit. But the interesting part is going to be down here in Action. So what we're going to do for this one, we want this to select all, to mimic the Command A command. So we're going to use press keys, and that brings up this little box here. We're going to hit Record, and then we're going to do Command A, and then hit Stop. So now programmed into this button is Command A, and it will activate that when we're in Finale. So I'm going to go over to Finale now, which is here. Oh, I forgot one really, and I do this all the time, and you probably will too. Every time you make a change here, we have to Command S and save. Or you can come up here to the File menu and say Save. And do you want to restart this whole program? And we'll say yes. And there it is. So now anytime you make a program, it's not going to show up until you save it. So now if I go to Finale, there's our Select All button. Make sure we're on the selection tool, and there you go, it's selecting all. And this is going to work in a couple of the different tools. It'll work in the Measure tool and in the Staff tool to select all. A couple other things that you can do that are pretty powerful. I can create another button. I can hit the Add button. I can also just copy paste, which will bring another button up. Let's say we're going to say type. Let's make this a chord. Let's say this is going to be 7 sharp. That's not a 7. Let's say this is going to be a chord. We're going to call this 7 sharp 11. Missing a bracket. There we go. So 7 sharp 11. So we want this to type our 7 sharp 11 chord. So in this case, we're going to click on the button. Instead of press keys, we're going to go enter text. And we will say 7 sharp 11, or whatever your chord is, or the ones that I designed that you may have seen on Facebook are using the index numbers. So they're starting with colon and then whatever 76 or whatever the code is for that particular. This one So let's create another button. Now I could add another button up here. I can also just copy and paste this one. It'll give me a new button. And this one, let's create a chord like the panel you may have seen on Facebook. So let's call this 7 sharp 11. So in this case, I don't want to press keys. I don't want to have a key combination the way I do with this one. Instead, what we're going to do is enter text as though we're typing. So there's two ways to do this. I can either enter the actual 7 sharp 11. So I would type in the root of the chord and then hit this button, and it'll type the rest of the chord. Or if you know the index code of your particular chord suffix, for me this is 74, I'm going to go colon 74. So I'll type in the root, B flat, hit the button, and it should come up with this chord suffix. So let's see if that works. Again, I'm going to save, or nothing changes. Go back over to Finale, go to the chord tool. I'm going to type in the root. It just occurred to me I don't have my, I'm using the default So let's create another button. Now I can come up here and hit Add Button again, or I can select this and just copy paste and it'll give me an identical button to this one. Now let's use this one to create a chord. So I'm going to call this 7, let's say 7 sharp 11. Now instead of simulating a key combination, I'm going to select Enter Text. Now, a couple ways that you can enter a chord. I could use the index number. So if you happen to know what the index number of that chord is, for me it's :74. Or I could just put in 7 sharp 11. This will depend on, that should be a 7. 7 sharp 11. This will depend on your chord library, of course. Then I'm going to save. Command S, say yes. Go back over to Finale. We now have this new button. I can go to the chord tool and I will say F 7 sharp 11. Hit the space bar and it's put that in. I'm using the default file here for Finale, which is why my fonts are terrible and there's all sorts of things I would never do on a real file. There's my disclaimer. All sorts of things you can do here that are pretty great if you use this in combination with some other things. So you can go to other panels. So for example here, if I've got access for this button to select any one of these other panels. So for example here on my chord panel I was using at the bottom, all these buttons do is access a different one of these panels and brings it up. Other things that you can do, you can access AppleScript. This is very useful if you want to use this in conjunction with Keyboard Maestro. I'll do that on another video. It's a little bit complicated, but it's pretty powerful. You could also access Keyboard Maestro just by using shortcuts or hotkeys that you've programmed in there. But if you're trying to get into a nested palette system, you'll use up all of your possible key combinations if you do this for everything. So you'll want to use AppleScript. We'll get to that in another video. Anyway, I hope that this is helpful. As I say, you can use this in all sorts of applications, not just Finale. I'm just starting to explore it myself. I've got some ideas that I'm going to be trying for different apps and see how that goes. I'm going to post some more videos on different aspects of this idea, including, as I say, the AppleScript and using this in conjunction with Keyboard Maestro. Thanks for watching.